Star Fox 64 was the successor to the Super Nintendo title, Star Fox, that first featured the Super FX chip. The Super FX chip just kind of made it look like you were flying 5 giant polygons connected to look like a spaceship, but thanks to the chip, Star Fox was the first game to feature true 3D models on a console. Not to be outdone, Star Fox 64 introduced a little bit of its own innovation. It was the first game to feature the Rumble Pack, a device that plugged into the N64 controller to offer force feedback. This basically set the standard for controls moving forward. I mean, Rumble is just expected these days. It's built right into every controller. The added horsepower of the Nintendo 64 made the game look significantly better than its predecessor. There were a lot of really cool lighting and smoke effects that made for a really beautiful game. I did notice that they didn't bother to render the bodies of our heroes in their cockpits, so you got this cool disembodied head thing going on. That's kind of terrifying. The first thing that really stood out about Star Fox 64 was how tight the controls were. I guess this shouldn't be a surprise for a Nintendo-developed game, but even playing it today, I'm impressed with how responsive things are. The R-Wing glides around the screen, always doing precisely what you want. Except for that. And that. And that. Shit, man! Quit hitting things! The game lets you take advantage of its controls by rewarding players for getting a little showy. Flying between arches or under low objects usually results in gaining some kind of power-up. Occasionally, the reward is a new path in the level. Actually, several levels within the game have 2 paths that could lead you to 2 totally different boss battles. For example, if you fly through all of the stone arches near the end of the first mission, Falco will lead you through a waterfall where you'll battle the same boss from the first mission in the original Star Fox. It was a nice little callback and gave an opportunity to see how far technology had come between console generations. Nintendo also took things out of the sky to introduce a tank and a submarine, which were featured in new land and water-based levels. The tank level was probably my favorite mission in the whole game. It introduced some really cool dynamic set pieces in a time where that wasn't really a thing. The Star Fox team is racing to stop a train throughout the level. The train fires at mountains to make boulders rain down on Fox. The guns on the train can be targeted and taken out to make things a little easier on yourself. You can actually interact with most parts of the train. Of course, by interact I mean shoot. It was just a really cool mission that was really well designed. As for the water level, well, it went the other direction. The controls went to shit, it was super dark. Seriously, what am I looking at? There was also a new type of flying level that allowed the Star Fox team to move around in a full 3D environment. The action came off the linear rails involved in most levels and allowed more freedom to fly around and engage enemies in a more typical dogfight style. You'd have to work to get inside your enemy's turning arc or do loops to get behind them. Star Fox 64 was a great game that offered a lot of replayability. Sure, the game was short, but it allowed you to live out the fantasy of being a starfighter pilot. It was enough to keep me playing through the game over and over to find new paths through levels or to beat previous kill counts or high scores. There have been a few lackluster titles in the franchise since Star Fox 64. I'd love to see a return to form with something on the Wii U. Are you listening, Nintendo? And Retro. Get on that.